Hey guys, it's your girl Kaylee Sparks here with you today, and today we are going to do this super cute crochet high-waisted shorts with zip in the front and lace at the side. Guys, this is super cute. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting on? Hit that subscribe button and be a part of the Sparks family. And if you haven't watched the video on how to create this super cute crochet crop top, go and check it out. It is super easy. So let's jump straight into this video. So these are the items that we are going to use for today: a 3.5mm crochet hook, a stitch marker, a tapestry needle to weave in our ends, our tape measurement, a pair of scissors, silk pin, regular sewing needle, invisible thread, hook and eye, a stamp metal zipper, and our acrylic yarn. So let's jump straight into this video. Start off by creating a slip knot, chain up 6, hold on to that 6 and chain 2, yarn over, go into that 6 spot that you were holding, weave in your ends. While you go, we are going to do extended half double crochet. So yarn over, go into that next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through all 3. It is optional. You can use double crochet if you choose. Go into that last stitch, chain up 2, turn your work, yarn over, go into that back loop with an extended half double crochet, pull up a loop, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through all 3, yarn over, go into this back loop right here, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through all 3. And that's our extended half double crochet, and you're just going to go into each and every stitch until you reach to the end. So yarn over, go into that last stitch at the back, pull up a loop, pull through 1, pull through all 3, chain up 2, turn your work, yarn over, let me carry it up a little closer, go into that back loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through all 3, yarn over, go into the next stitch, and you're just going to continue, go into each and every stitch and make it long enough to pass your hip and to be the measurement of your waist. Alright, so just continue to do this and I'll let you know how much row that I am going to do. So I'm on the finishing of this row. Yarn over and go into that last stitch, back loop only. Alright, chain 1. And now we're going to do single crochet. So go into this space right here, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through. So you're just going to continue to do this into each and every space. Alright, and I'll meet you when you reach to the end of this row. So just continue doing this. So I am on the finishing of this rounds, and go into that last stitch, with your single crochet. Alright, so chain up 2, turn your work, and if you notice, I have some stitch marker. I have one close to the end, one in the middle, and one at the next end. So in all I did 52. Alright, so yarn over. We are going to do extended half double crochet. Go into that first space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through all 3, and for this row we are going to do increase. So yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and do your extended half double crochet, and we are going to do our increase when we reach to the stitch marker. Alright, so remove that stitch marker, and I want you to put 2 extended half double crochet into that space. That's 1, and that's 2. Place your stitch marker on that spot so you remember that's where you put your 2 extended double crochet. So just go into the next stitch, and you're just going to continue to do your extended half double crochet until you reach to the middle stitch marker to do your increase. So just continue to do that. So I am close to the middle where I'm going to do my increase. So I want you to classify this row that we are doing as our first row so that we won't get mixed up when we are going to do our increases. Alright, so remove that stitch marker, go into that spot, and place 2 extended half double crochet into that spot. Alright, place back your stitch marker so that you will know that's where you did your increase, and then just go into each and every one of the next stitches until you reach to your next increase. Alright, so I'm close to my next increase. Remove that stitch marker, go into that space with 2 extended half crochet. That's 1, and that's 2. Place back your stitch marker, yarn over, go into the next stitch, and finish up this row. Yarn over, go into that last stitch, and chain up 2 and turn your work. So you're going on now to row 2. For row 2 we are going to do more increase. So we did 3 increase in our last set. This time we are going to do 4. So we're going to put 1 here, 1 before we reach to that section, 1 after, and 1 before we reach to the next section. So we are going to do 4 increase for this row. So yarn over, go into that stitch and create your extended half double crochet, and you're just going to go into each and every stitch until we reach to the section that we want to do our increase. So yarn over, go into that section where your stitch marker is, yarn over, go into the next stitch, and just continue. And we're close to the section where we're going to do an increase. Alright, so we're going to place one more into that same space. So we did one, and that's two. Alright, so that's where we do our increase. So just move that stitch marker and place it where we do our increase, and just go into the next stitches until we reach to the section that we're going to do our next increase. Remember, we are doing our next increase before we reach to the stitch marker. So just continue to do that. So I'm going to do an increase. So yarn over, go into that stitch with 2 extended double crochet. So that's 1 and that's 2. So yarn over, go into the next stitches until we pass our stitch marker, and we're going to place the next one after we pass our stitch marker. So just go into each and every stitch until we reach to that section. So I am close to where I'm going to place my next stitch marker. Alright, so yarn over, go into that space, and you're going to place 2 extended half double crochet. So I did 1 and that's 2. So yarn over, go into the next stitches until we reach in front of this next stitch marker. So just continue to do this. So I am close to where my next stitch marker. So yarn over, go into that space and place 2. So that's 1 and that's 2. So yarn over, remove your stitch marker and place it into that spot where you did your 2 extended half double crochet, and just go into each and every stitch until you reach to the end of this round. So I'm close to the end. And this is the finishing of rounds 2. So chain up 2, turn your work, and now we are going into rounds 3. For rounds 3, we are not going to do rounds 3 is just going to be a regular row. Alright, so no increase, no decrease, a regular row. So just yarn over and go into each stitch, and I'll meet you at the end of this round. So I'm close to the end of this row. Go into that last stitch, chain up 2, turn your work, and now we are on row 4. Alright, so yarn over, put an increase right into the starting. So we are doing our increase right here. And for this row, we are only doing 3 increase. So remove that stitch marker and put it where you're doing your increase. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, go into that next stitch, and go into the other stitch. And when we're going to do our next increase, I'll tell you where we're going to put that one. So just continue from there. So I'm going to do our next increase now. So yarn over, go into the space, pull up a loop and do 1. Go back into that same space and do the next one. So the reason why we put it right here, our last increase was right here. Alright, so we have to just make sure that we're not putting our increase in the same spot. Alright, so just continue to do this, and I'll tell you when we are going to do our... Oh, let's remove our stitch marker and put it where we did our last increase now. Put it right into that increase. And then continue from there until we reach to the next increase. Alright, so we're going to do our next increase. So we did our last increase right here, so we're going to do our next increase here. So we just have to just try not to put our increase into the same spot. So I did 1 and that's 2. Remove my stitch marker and place it into that increase. Never you put your increase into the same spot. Alright, just change them up. If you put it at one area, you put it at the next area. So just continue to do this, and I'll meet you at the end of this rounds So I'm close to the end of this row. So chain up 2, turn your work. So we are now on row 5. Alright, so for row 5 we are going to do 4 increase. So we just did 3 increase. Now we are going to do 4 increase. So I'm going to do an increase right here, right here, right here, and here. Alright, so just do your 4 increase, and when you finish your 4 increase, I'll meet you at the end of this round. Just do it the same thing, the same way how we did it before. So just continue to do this. So we are on the finishing of row 5. So chain up 2, turn your work, and for row 6 we are not going to do any increase or decrease. We are just going to do a regular row. Alright, so just continue to do this and I'll meet you at the end of this row. So I'm on the finishing of row 6. Alright, chain up 2, turn your work, and for this row 7 we are going to do a big increase. So we did like the first row 3 increase, the second row 4 increase, the third row no increase, and then we did back again 3, the next row 3 increase, the other row 4 increase, then the next row no increase. So for this row 7, we are going to do 5 increase instead of 3, and instead of 4 increase we are going to do 6 increase, because we want to make room now for our hip. Alright, so we're going to do for row 7 5 increase. So we're going to do 1 increase here, 1 increase here, 1 increase here, 1 increase here, and 1 increase here. So 5 row of increase. So yarn over, go into your next stitch and start your row 7. Alright, and now we are going to make our increase. So yarn over, go into the stitch 2 times, so that's 1 and that's 2, and then you're just going to continue to go into each and every stitch, and remember to put in your increase. Alright, so remember row 7 5 increase. So I'll meet you at the end of this row. So I'm on the finishing of row 7. Chain up 2, turn your work, and row 8 will be having 6 increase. So make sure that you space out your increases, and you're just going to do your 6 increase in row 8, and I'll meet you at the end of this row. So I'm on the finishing of row 8. Chain up 2, turn your work, and for row 9 we are not going to do any increase or any decrease. We are just doing a regular row for row 9. So just continue to do this and I'll meet you at the end of row 9. So I'm on the finishing of my 9 row. Go into that last stitch, chain up 2, and let me show you how it is for now. So far this is how it look. The waist is for a 27 and the hip is going to be for a 38. So these increase that we are doing, it's all depends on your size, waist and hip. You will have to do it to match yours, whether you have to do less row or you have to do more increase. All right, so for the 10th row we are going to do increase, and for the 11th row, for the 10th row we are going to do an increase of 5, for the 11th row an increase of 6, and for the 12th row no increase. So the same pattern that we have been doing right through, that's the pattern that we're going to continue to do. So you're just going to continue to do this until when you get your hip measurement, then I'll be back with you. So just continue to do it over and over. Increase of 5, increase of 6, no increase. Increase of 5, increase of 6, no increase. So do it till you reach to the measurement of your hip. All right, so remember, you may do more, you may do less, so just continue to do this. So I'm on the finishing of row 15 where it was a regular row. There was no increase nor decrease. All right, so chain up 2, turn your work, and this is row 16. Row 16 we only going to do 4 increase on row 16 to make our hip measurement. All right, so we're not going to do 5 nor 6, we're going to do 4 because that's the amount that calculates to our hip measurement. So when you finish row 16 and you do all your increase, I'll meet you back at the end. Remember, it depends on your hip size and waist size towards the amount of increase. So just continue to do this and I'll meet you at the end of this rounds. So I'm on the finishing of row 16. Go into that last stitch, the extended half double crochet. All right, so we finish all our increase, and this now our hip size is 156 chain to make our hip size of 38. All right, so what we're going to do now is slip stitch right over into the next section. Just pull up a hoop and pull right through, and that's what we have. So start your rounds now. Rounds 17 by chain up 2, yarn over, go into that same stitch with your extended half double crochet, and for this row we are not going to do no increase, no decrease. We are just going to do a normal row and just go into each and every stitch, and when we reach to this end I'll tell you what next to do. So just continue to do this and I'll meet you at the next end. So I'm close to the end of this rounds. Go into that last stitch, yarn over, and go into the stitch right here that is in between these two sections. All right, and now slip stitch right into that top chain and pull right through. Chain up 2, yarn over, go back into that same space right here and create your extended half double crochet. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, and remember we are not doing any more increase and we're not going to do any decrease, we're just doing normal row. So just continue to go into each and every stitch and I'll meet you when you reach to this end. So I'm close to the end of this rounds. Yarn over and go right in between this space right here with your extended half double crochet, and then slip stitch right into the next stitch. And pull right through. Chain up 2, yarn over, go into that same space where you have your chain and create your extended double crochet. Yarn over, go into the next stitch and create your extended half double crochet, and you're just going to go into each and every stitch until when it reaches to a comfortable length of your choice. We're going to make the seating of the shorts. Alright, so just continue to do this, and when you reach to that comfortable spot where you want to do your seating, I'll be back with you. I'll let you know how much row that I'm going to do. So I'm on the finishing of my 27th row. So go into that last stitch and then slip stitch across. Alright, so what we did now, we have a stitch marker on the opposite side, so I make a counting around the waist, and when I count the waist I have 169 chain. Alright, so what I did, I divide that 169 chain into half, and when I divide it into half, I put a stitch marker into that spot. So over on this side I have 84, and over on this side I have 84, so I put my stitch marker in between those two 84. Alright, so this would classify it as 85, so 84 on this side, 84 on this side, so that's where I put my stitch marker, right in between. Alright, so I am going to make a chain of 10 because we are going to make our seating of our shorts. So chain of 10, so after you chain your 10, go into that spot where you have your stitch marker and you're going to make a slip stitch. So remove that stitch marker and slip stitch right into that spot. Alright, then chain up 2, and then you're going to cut off your yarn. So after you cut off your yarn, put a stitch marker right into the center of that chain 10. Your legs, these are the two sections of your legs, and what we're going to do, otherwise from that, this is how your work supposed to look. So what I did, I made a counting around and I split that into half again, different from the half that we find for this section. I split it into half, so I calculate it into 4 in all. Hope you guys are understand me. To find the half where would be classified now as the next end where our hip section would be. So I have a stitch marker over my hip section. For both leg I have a stitch marker for that section because we will be doing a pattern for that section. So after I find where the middle of my hip would be, I make 2 other stitch marker from there. I count off 8 for this side and 8 for this side. That's why we have 2 set of yarn making stitch marker here, and I did the same thing for the opposite side as well because we are going to put a pattern there. So 8 over on this side and 8 over on this side, and this is the middle between our hips. Alright, so let's go on to the next section. So go back to the middle of your shorts and put your hook right in between the spot where you have your stitch marker. Remove your stitch marker and create a slip knot on your yarn. Pull up that loop, chain up 2, yarn over, weave in your ends while you go into that next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 1, pull through all 3, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 1, pull through all 3. Same thing that we were doing before with our extended half double crochet. That's the same thing that we're going to do. So we're going to go into each and every stitch that is on our seating. And then yarn over and go into your next stitch over on the body of the shorts, and just continue to do your extended half double crochet into each and every space. And you're just going to continue to do this, and when you reach close to your stitch marker, I'll meet you there. So just continue. So I'm close to where I'm going to do my pattern, but I'm going to do a change of color to the more paler section of my yarn. This section I'm going to put at the pattern. So go into the next stitch before you reach your stitch marker, pull up a loop and pull through one, and then we do our change of color and just pull right through. Tighten that spot, yarn over, go into the section where your stitch marker is, pull up a loop, pull through one, then pull through all three. You can remove your stitch marker and now make a chain of 16. All right, so yarn over, go into that spot where you have your stitch marker, pull up a loop, pull through one, and then we're going to do our change of color. Make our slip knot and then pull through. Remember, this section is optional. You can just use the same color yarn that you were using before. You don't necessarily have to make a change of color. So remove that stitch marker that you have marking the spot, yarn over and weave in your ends while you go into that next stitch and create your extended half double crochet. Yarn over, go into that next stitch and just continue to do that, and I'll meet you when you reach over to this section to go on our seating. So just continue to do this. So I'm close to the seating of my shorts, and remember to weave in your ends while you go. All right, less work for you when you finish your project. All right, go into that stitch and create your extended half double crochet, yarn over, go into that seating, extended half double crochet, go into that next stitch, go into that next stitch, and also the next stitch. And then slip stitch right on top of your starting chain, So your work supposed to be looking like this. Chain up 2, yarn over, go into that same stitch and create your extended half double crochet. Go into that next stitch, and you're just going to continue to go into each and every stitch until when you reach close to where you're going to do your pattern. I'll tell you what next to do. So I'm close to doing my change of color. Yarn over, go into that stitch, pull up a loop, pull through one, get your next color, yarn over and make a knot and pull right through. Yarn over, go into that next stitch and create your extended half double crochet, and then make a chain of 8. So the first one we make a chain of 16, this one we're going to make a chain of 8. Alright, so chain up 8, and after you chain that 8, make a slip stitch into that chain that you did your 16 and chain 8 again, and then yarn over, go into that next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through one, and then we do our change of color. So create a slip knot, and pull right through. Yarn over, go into that next stitch, weave in your ends while you go. Alright, so this is how it's supposed to look. That's our pattern. Alright, so it's like a X diamond pattern we're putting here. So yarn over, go into that next stitch, and we're just going to continue from here, and I'll meet you at the next end. So I'm close to the end of this row, so just go into each and every stitch, and then slip stitch right on top of your starting chain. Pull right through. Chain up 2, yarn over, go back into that same stitch and continue. So I'm on the finishing of my shorts, so just go into each and every space and then just slip stitch right across. Chain 2 and then cut off your yarn and tug on it. So I only do 4 rounds. Alright, remember, if you want it taller, you can just continue to make more pattern, or you can just go right back to your normal section. All depends on you. Alright, so this is what we have so far, and I'm going to do the next section off camera. Alright, so just continue watching. So I finished the next section of my shorts, and now I pin down my zipper and I make sure that I put it close to the shorts, right, but not too close. Don't go over this ridge. All right, and make sure that you test it if it can zip without hitching. All right, so you can see that it's freely. All right, this is where I'm going to put my hook and eye, so that's why I leave that space right there. So just zip it back down to start your sewing. So I have my invisible thread. It's in clear. Alright, so I'm gonna start. Remove your first stitch marker. and make sure that you put this section in. All right, go into that space, go back in, and try to go into each and every one of the crochet while you're doing it. So I don't go too far. I don't make big loops, all right, because I want it to look like I'm using a sewing machine on it, and I want to go into each and every one of my stitches. So I'm going to continue to do my sewing, but I'm going to do it off camera because I don't want this video to be too long. So just continue watching, and if you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button and be a part of the Sparks family. Remember, each one teach one. And give this video a like so it can help the algorithm. So continue watching. So I'm close to the bottom of sewing my zip. Remember, you don't want to go too close to the edge of the zipper because your zipper will be stuck in very often if you go too close, but at the same time don't go too far. All right, so remember, when you're placing on your zipper, this section is the outside of my shorts and this section is the inside because I turned over my shorts to put in my zipper. All right, I'm close to the end of this rounds, and I'll be going up after I finish. After I go down, I'll be going back up to make sure that my zipper is firmly in. All right, and I'll meet you at the end when I finish place this side of my zipper. So I'm close to the finishing of this side of my zipper, so I'm just going to cut off my thread, and this is the finishing of this side, and this is the zipping. All right, so this side is out like this because I don't sew on this side as yet, so I'm going to do that side off camera and then I'll be back with you. So my zip is completed, both sides are finished. Okay, so now it's time for us to do our hook and eye, and this is our hook and eye. All right, so we are going to spin it around to the section that we are placing our hook and eye. We're going to start from the hook. So we're going to place the hook at this spot and the eye over on this spot so we can just latch it. But you have to place it where it can latch properly. Alright, let me show you it from the next angle. So we're going to place it like this from this angle so we can slip it on and slip off. Alright, so that's a comfortable spot. So let's sew them on now. Alright, so just take your needle and push on that little hole space that is right here, and go back over again, and you're just going to continue to go under and over until it is firm. So go into that space for the last time to make it firm. Alright, so now I'm going to go on the top of the hook where you see this space right here. That's the section I'm going into next. So firm up this section. And you're just going to continue to go into this spot and let it firm. And when this section is well firm, just tie off that section. So just cut off that section. And now we are going to do the opposite section, but before you send it across, make sure that you test your hook to see if it is balanced. Alright. So this spot is okay, so just remove that hook and then start to attach this section. So I'm going to do this section off camera and I'll be back with you. So I finished installing my hook and eye, and that is how it look. Alright, so zip down. Hook and eye will hold your zip from sliding down. Alright, so that's the purpose of the hook and eye, to hold your zip from sliding down. Okay, so I'm going to weave in the rest of my ends off camera, and then I'm going to show you the finishing look of this. Alright, so give this video a like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and be a part of the Sparks family. Have you subscribed yet? What are you waiting on? Hit that subscribe button and be a part of the Sparks family. So this is the finishing of our high-waisted shorts with zip at the front and lace at the side. So if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and be a part of the Sparks family. Give this video a thumbs up. Peace out. Love you guys.